We have arrived at the Mexican Grand Prix, Sergio Perez's home turf, and a race that always proves to be good fun. With an extremely long straight at the start/finish line, making it nice and easy to overtake, with the precise Sector 1 flowing into the very high speed corners of Sector 2, which then leads onto one of the most iconic sections of a track in the F1 calendar, the stadium section of Sector 3. The Mexico Grand Prix has a lot to offer, so let's see exactly what that is. So news-wise, there's only one real thing that's happening ahead of the Mexican Grand Prix, and we have heard that Kimi Antonelli will be taking place in FP1 instead of Lewis Hamilton. Now, again, it's interesting that it's ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I think we all know why, because he's leaving for Ferrari, so Mercedes are sort of pushing him out more and more. But it'll be exciting to see what he can do. Last time he was on the track on FP1, it didn't really end well for poor George Russell's car. But I'm hoping he can stay on the track for a little bit longer, treat it more like a race simulation or quali simulation. We'll see what he actually goes for, and let's see what he can do in that car, because I'm really excited to see him in 2025. However, we haven't seen much of him in the free practice sessions, so this is his time to show us what he's got. Then the talking points ahead of this Grand Prix is the first place Constructor Championship showdown. So we've just come off the back of a beautiful race at COTA with Ferrari getting a 1-2. They look very good at the minute. Can they repeat that again? I don't think so. This track should be pretty decent for McLaren as well, so I do believe it's going to be McLaren and Ferrari right up there this weekend, not like COTA, so it will be probably more like Leclerc, Norris fighting and Piastri, Sainz fighting, so that will be exciting to see, hopefully, if that happens. However, never count out Red Bull. I don't think this is going to be one of their stronger tracks, and when I say don't ever not think of Red Bull, I'm more thinking of Max Verstappen. Even in a terrible car, he can be fighting with those top 3, top 4 drivers in the Ferraris and the McLarens. So don't count him out. However, he's going to have a much harder time this weekend, and I could see him 4th to 5th, worse than COTA 100%. So that will mean I think that Ferrari will overtake Red Bull in the constructors' standings come the Sunday. However, I don't think they'll be gaining much on McLaren, so that is still all to play for, but Ferrari needs some very much Ferrari track to get that gap down from McLaren. And then further down the grid, we have the 6th place showdown. So we have a weird leeway position of the top 3 fighting for the first position. Then you have Mercedes, no man's, Aston Martin, no man's land, and then you have Haas and VCarb. So I very much thought that Haas would overtake VCarb at COTA, and I was 100% correct. They looked rapid. However, so did VCarb, and I do think with Lawson not starting at the back of the grid with technically sort of a fresh still engine, he very much could cause some damage. However, I do still think Haas will come out on top in Mexico and in the season overall, only 2 points separating them coming into this weekend. I'm excited to see them. They're going to be battling at the back end of the top 10. Hopefully, Aston Martin don't get involved, because I'm really liking seeing the Haas's, the VCarbs, the Williams getting lots of points. However, we're going to need to see a Red Bull drive from Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda to get those points to overtake Haas again. That could happen considering they're trying to get that Red Bull seat, but we'll see what happens. I think Hulkenberg and Magnussen have it on wraps. Trust me, Hulkenberg or Magnussen is going to be in the top 8 again this race weekend. And then finally, for the talking points, we have to talk about Perez. Like I mentioned, this is home Grand Prix, and I would like to say he normally does well here, and since 2021, he tends to sort of do all right. We've seen him in 2021 get a podium less than 20 seconds behind Max Verstappen, and then he did it again in 2022. However, in 2023, it was a little bit of a different story, which is why I'm a little bit worried, because when the Red Bull's not that fast, then he can't do as much. He got outperformed by Daniel Ricciardo in the VCarb in qualifying, and then crashed out straight away in the race, meaning he DNF'd at his home Grand Prix. So it really is business as usual for Sergio Perez. He could either completely flop or just finish the race. But I do think if he does finish the race, it won't be as bad as what we've seen before, where he doesn't even get into the top 10. He definitely will be in the top 10, but I don't think we're going to be seeing any redemption arcs from him at the Mexico Grand Prix. So then finally, let's get on to my favourite part of the video, which is the predictions. Now, I'm going to give all of you lovely people my favourite prediction of the week, which is my forfeit one. And my forfeit this week is, if Mercedes get into the top 4, it is going to be me saying Toto Wolff, not 1,000 times, not 2,000 times, but 2,500 times in a row. 1,000 times was long enough, and that took me about 15-20 minutes. So this is going to take me half an hour to 40 minutes. So pray for me while I'm doing this, and I pray for anyone who actually watches that on normal speed if this happens. But I'm adamant that Mercedes aren't going to be there. It's going to be McLaren versus Ferrari, and then Max Verstappen will take that other spot. But then for the actual weekend predictions, I am predicting that pole position will go to Lando Norris. Again, McLaren should look a bit better at Mexico, and even at COTA, where they didn't have a lot of race pace. They had a lot of one-lap pace. Lando Norris put it on pole, so I think he's going to do the same here. He's not going to be there when the first lap ends, but to be fair, for Mexico, that's understandable. It's such a long straight to the first corner. Then my top 3 will be Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri. I do think the McLarens will pip the Ferraris here, but it's going to be close. 4th place, if I would put 4th, would be Carlos Sainz. Then my underwhelming driver of the weekend will be Yuki Tsunoda. I just think he's going to get outperformed again by Liam Lawson, and without Liam Lawson starting at the back of the grid, I think he's going to be a bit shown up. Now, I know the cars are a little bit different because Liam Lawson's got newer components, but Yuki Tsunoda's got to be careful, and I don't think it's going to be his race weekend. And then for the best driver of the weekend, I have gone for Franco Colapinto. I think he's going to get another top 10 finish. I really do think it will be Hülkenberg in the Haas, it will be Liam Lawson, and it will be Colapinto. Very similar to COTA, but those 3 are just looking so strong at the minute, I can't see anyone else putting up a fight to them. And I do think Franco Colapinto, with his form, will 100% be in the top 10. And for me, a Williams in the top 10, especially a Williams like Franco Colapinto, 100% would be the most overachieving driver on the grid. And then finally, for last place, I like a really easy one, but you know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Max Verstappen. No, of course it's bloody not. It's gonna be Guan Yu Zhou. Sadly, Zhou and Bottas, it's basically 50-50 between them. It used to be my top 3 of Logan Sargent as well, but Logie Bears left us, so it's very easy now. It's going to be Zhou, followed by Bottas. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. That is everything that you need to know ahead of the Mexican Grand Prix. It's quite a relaxed Grand Prix. Everyone sort of knows where the pace is. It really is Ferrari versus McLaren, then Red Bull trying to put their butts in, and then Haas versus VCarb. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all later for another video. Bye-bye.